Welcome back to CodeSpace. What you just saw was something called as a chaos game. In episode 8, we saw something called as fractals, and in episodes 21 and 24, we visited chaos and chaos equations. All right. This week, let's combine both of them and see how we can create that beautiful chaos game fractals. Hey Ravi, how's it going, man?
Hey RK, wow. So I just saw the fractals and they look amazing.
They look amazing, right?
Yeah. So I'm kicked to see how we can code them up.
Yeah. All right. So before we begin, a small presentation.
Sure.
Let's say I have a polygon over here. In this case, I have an equilateral triangle, and I have 3 vertices. All right, or vertices or points. Both are synonymous with each other. All right. I start with a random point within this polygon. Start with a random point, and then I will draw a line to any one of these vertices, a random vertex. In this case, I've chosen the bottom left corner of the vertex. All right. And what I do is that I draw a point at halfway on that line. Halfway on that line. This orange dot signifies that. So that becomes my new point. From here, I'll choose another random vertex and I'll draw another line. All right. So I'll choose a random vertex and I'll draw, and once again, halfway. All right. Going one more iteration from here, I'll choose a random vertex and I'll draw a half point. Now, if I keep on doing this for more than, let's say, 10,000 iterations, eventually you should see this shape appearing.
Wow.
This is called as the Sierpinski's triangle. All right. So you should see this fractal come up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So unlikely that random things
would form something like this. It is very unlikely that random things should form this, but yes, this does happen.
Right.
All right. Now, having said that, let's just consider a few things.
Right.
Number one, this should work for any polygon that has more than 2 vertices. I think by definition, you should have. All polygons have more than 2 vertices. All right. So square, rectangle, pentagon, hexagon, anything. It should work for everything. In our example, we divide the line into half. This is called as a factor. Okay. So what I mean by that is that over here, I've divided this line into half.
Correct.
All right. This is called as the factor. But this factor is different for different polygons. So a half fractal will not work for a square. It could be a different factor. All right. It could be a different factor. The factor changes for different polygons. For example, half does not work for square, but 1/3 seems to work. We will see how that goes.
Got it.
All right. Having said that, let's just begin coding. That concludes the explanation part of our, of our this thing, and then we'll begin coding. All right.
Sure.
So what do I have for setup? It's a little bit different this time. I have a canvas as per usual, but I also have some controls over here. You will see. All right. The controls includes a way to control the number of sides of our polygon. We will start with 3, and also something called as a factor. All right. So we'll have. So I can determine what the factor is. For now, I will default it to, let's say, 0.5. I also have a draw button, which will basically start the drawing of this one. So how have I done this? I have a regular HTML page with a canvas and the controls defined inside the div that we had defined. All right. So basically, it's just a slide is created by creating an input HTML of the type range, and it is and this range can take a minimum value, a maximum value, the current value, and it can also take how many steps you can increment. So for example, factor, I have defined it as a minimum value of 0.1, a maximum value of 1, a current value of 0.5, and a step of 0.025. So it increments by that much. All right. I also have text boxes accompanying those. Those are the text boxes that you see. When I actually change this value, the value also changes over here. I have done that in JavaScript actually, and how I have done this is in our JavaScript file, which as per usual has an init function, and it also has an init controls. All right. And in the init controls, I do this document by get element, and then I use the event on input, which basically takes the value and then sets the value to that to that accompanying text box. So that's how this is done. All right. Having said that, let's just go ahead and get started with our program. All right. So what do I need to start this off? All right, let's going back over here. First things first, I need to draw a polygon. A polygon which will basically be at the center of the screen. And so for that, let me just define the center of the screen. All right, so let's just declare a couple of variables. X, cy. And the center of the screen is basically defined as width by 2 and cy is equal to height by 2. All right, so that defines the center of the screen. What do I need after that? I basically need to draw this polygon. All right, and to draw this polygon, it also has something called as a number of sides. I mean, basically we will need two variables that will say this is the number of sides, and we will also need a variable called as factor. Okay, so I have the number of sides and I have the factor. Now the number of sides basically defines the number of sides. I'm going to initialize this to 3 and the factor to 1 by 2 or half or 0.5. So yeah, so that should do it. I have the center and the center. I have the centers also defined. Let me just go ahead and start drawing the fractal. All right, so I already have like a skeleton function defined called draw fractal. Let me just call it from the init after I have initialized the controls. Okay. Now, how do you draw a polygon of n sides? Okay, any polygon by definition is a circle having n number of sides, or in other words, a circle is a polygon having infinite number of sides.
True.
Right? So therefore, we are going to be using the circles function or trigonometry to basically draw this polygon. Okay, how are we going to do that? First things first, we have the centers already defined, and from that center I can say draw a circle but only have these many vertices of that circle, which means I will have to increment the the circle's vertices by a specific amount. What I mean by that is okay, so a circle is basically 2 pi.
Right.
All right. So if this circle had only 3 sides, it means that every vertex should be 2 pi divided by 3 radians apart. So let's just define that. All right, I'm going to call this variable as increment, and I'm going to say variable increment is equal to constants dot 2 pi, right? 2 pi divided by the number of sides. So that gives me the number of sides. I will also need a start angle. I'm going to say start angle is equal to 0, and I'll say for let I is equal to 0, I less than let's say number of sides, I plus plus. All right, so basically draw that many vertices. All right, so I less than number of sides, I plus plus, and I'll say let x is equal to math.sine of whatever angle multiplied by, we need the size of that polygon. All right, so the size of that polygon, going back to the presentation, let's say this is my canvas. It should be basically at least the size of the or at least half of the size of the canvas. Basically I'm defining the radius of my circle. All right, so let's just do that, and I'm going to call it size. I already have the centers defined. Let's say size is equal to nothing for now, and I'll say size is equal to width by 2. All right, and width by 2 will make this circle or this polygon right at the very edge of our canvas. So I'm just going to arbitrarily reduce 25 from it, so that we are pretty sure that the polygon that we will draw is within the bounds of the canvas itself. So I have the size. All right, so using trigonometry, so I have this, so I'll multiply this angle with the size, and I'll add the center back into it. So now I have this center thing. I'll do the same thing with y as well. And the only thing that will change is that x is math.cos and x is math.sin and y is math.cos. I have the angle, size, and then I'll say at the center of y to it. All right, so that will give me this. Now I'll say angle plus is equal to increment. So now I have, so that it basically increments. Before we do that, let's just draw the point itself on the canvas.
Right.
And I'll say context dot fill style is equal to hash. Let me do this fill style definition above over here so that I define it once. I'm going to make it a little bit blue. Say 5555 FF. Alright, so that will give me a slightly bluish color. I'll say context dot begin path context dot arc. This is basically an arc at this x and y location, radius of let's say 5, start angle is 0, end angle is constants dot 2 pi and true or false. I mean I can, it doesn't matter what it is. Alright, and then context dot fill. Alright, so this should basically draw 3 points on my canvas. Oh, you can see that it has drawn these 3 points.
Right.
The only drawback over here is that it starts from the very bottom, because I think 0 is here, then this is pi, and then this is 2 pi. I mean, a full circle is 2 pi. So let's just start it at the top. Alright.
Sure.
So that's number 1. And number 2, I also wanted to make the background black. Let's also draw the center point over here. So let's just fill in all of those values. So first things first, we need to start it from math.py so that it starts at the very top, so that the first point is at the very top. Let's dot fill style is equal to hash 0 context dot begin path context dot rect to 0 comma 0 comma width comma height context dot fill. Alright, so that makes the background black. Next, I will also have to draw the center, so I'll just say context dot fill style. Let's make it green. So I'll say 55 FF 55. Alright, so it makes it green. So context dot. Now I'm just going to copy this. Right?
Yep.
Center X, center Y, make it this one, context dot fill. Yeah, I mean, I think that's it. So that should give us exactly what we need. So there you go. So it basically starts from the top. You have, I also have the centers defined, and I also have this one. So what's the next thing on our this thing? So now that we have these vertices defined, we can test this out. Meaning, if I said that the number of sides is, let's say, 5, it should put evenly 5 points over here. And if I, just to prove that this all circles are indeed polygons, if I did make it, let's say 100 over here, it should draw a circle.
Very cool.
Right?
Right.
Yeah. So yes. So we'll just say 3 for now, because I'm very eager to see the Sierpinski triangle. Alright. So there you go. So we have that. What's the next thing that we need to do? Alright. So remember from our this thing. So over here we have the start point defined. The start point is defined, and then it chooses one of these random vertices or points, vertices or points. Alright. So we need a mechanism to store all of these vertices somewhere, so that we can choose randomly from them.
Correct.
So for that, I'm going to just declare an array of points. Alright. I'm also going to be initializing this on the draw fractal, and why I am doing this will become apparent. Alright, so what did I do?
I think that got
Yep, I undid it, no problem. So I have the points. So basically I'll just say where let a point is equal to new point of x comma y. Then I'll just say points dot push of a point. Alright. So at the end of this points should have an array of whatever points that we have created.
Correct.
First things first, let's create the random point. I need a random point. So how do I define a random point? Alright. So we'll just reuse this technique itself to define a random point around the center itself. So what we'll do is we'll just take a random angle. Take a random angle, make it a random size, all right, and then we'll say, okay, that is your start point. So that is going to be my start point. So we'll do just that. Say let random angle is equal to random between 0 and constants dot 2 pi. Alright, so that will be my random angle. I also need a random size. Okay, let random size. Okay, a random size, I want it to be random between, let's say, 30. And what do I mean by random size? It means how far away from the center will it appear. I mean, it will appear at a random angle, but how far away. So I'll say about 30 pixels away, between 30 pixels, and we can choose an arbitrary value over here. Let's say I can say 100 over here, but I want it to be proportional to be of the size of the canvas. So in this case, I'll just say size by 2, so that it is half of the size of the canvas.
Sure.
And just to make sure, if I say size by 2, and if it appears right at the edge of the polygon, it might, in the case of a triangle, it might just exceed the triangle's this thing. So I don't want that to happen. So just to make sure, or just to be on the safe side, I'm just going to say minus 30 over here. Alright, so that will be my random size and random angle, and all I have to do is basically have this one. So I'll just say, I'll call it Rx, so that we don't confuse our variable names. So so basically that will be my random angle, and I'll just say random size. I'm sorry, I did a small mistake over here. Let's just draw this random point, see how it appears. Ry. So I have the random. So now I have this one, and I'm just going to make it a different color. All right. Let me make it a little bit red. I'll say FF55. All right. So there you go. So that's my random point. All right. So it will appear anywhere, and that will become my start point. Now so I'm going to declare a variable called start point. Let's say variable start point. The intention I have is that this start point will keep on changing.
Right.
Okay, so I'll say start point is equal to new point of random x, random y. Now, what do I mean by keep on changing? It means that every time I draw this point, and then I'll have to draw the next point. That next point will become my start point. Right? So, okay, all right. So I have this one. Okay. Now what? So if we look at this, we are basically now ready to basically go into a loop and start drawing all the points. So basically continuing this loop. So for that, I'll just create a new function, and I'm going to call them plot points. Right? Basically, these will start to plot the points. Now, the first rule or the second rule in this case is that I will have to choose a random vertex between all of these three.
Yeah.
How do I choose a random vertex? Remember, we already saved the points. So it will just be, let's say, I'll just say, let random, say random index is equal to % of random between 0 and points dot length.
Yeah.
Good. I'll also make sure that this random index doesn't exceed the length minus 1, because I don't want an index out of bounds issue, right? So I'll say random index is equal to random index. If it is greater than points dot length minus 1, if it is indeed greater than points dot length minus 1, just make it the last point, or else just make it random index. All right. Let random point is equal to points of this random index. Alright, now I'm not using the term random vertex over here because I know points and vertexes are basically synonymous in this case, and because I've used points everywhere, I'm just going to use point over here. Okay, and now that brings us to the to another question. The question is, how do I draw, or how do I know which is the center point of this line?
Right.
I already have like basically the formula for that is this. Let's say if the factor is 1 by 2, the new x would be 1 minus this factor into the vertex 1 dot x plus factor into the vertex 2 dot x. All right. Basically what this means is that, I mean, let's say the factor was 1 by 3. It means that the new one is 2/3 of the first vector plus, of the first vertex plus 1/3 of the second vertex. That's what it essentially means. So so we'll have to define a new point. Okay, so let's just do that. So let new x is equal to, we basically need that formula to be done, right? And that formula is 1 minus factor, reading it again, it is 1 minus factor into vertex 1 into this random point dot x. All right, so that plus factor into the start point dot x. Okay, so this new x would be exactly in between the random point and the start point.
Got it.
Cool. The same goes for y, the same formula goes for y. So it will be 1 minus random point dot y and factor into start point dot y. Okay, so start point and random point. So this new x and new y are exactly in center. Let's just draw this new point. I'm going to draw this in white, and I'm going to call this plot point from within our this thing. So the plot point is called from within the draw fractal. The draw fractal is called from the init. So we now have this thing. Let me just put context dot fill style, and I'm going to say fill style is equal to, I'm just going to draw it in white for now. So I have like a white, so that all of these points are drawn in white. Let's say context dot begin path, basically an arc. So I'm just going to copy this. Context dot arc, draw it at this, draw it at the new x and y, make it small. I'm just going to say this is 2, and then I'll say fill. Okay, now let's see what happens. So there you go. So now this is the random this thing, and this is halfway to this vertex. You can see that it has, okay, so in this case it has chosen this, and you can see that it has drawn this point over here. Okay, and then what happens? This becomes my new start point. All right, which means all I have to do is say my new start point is equal to new point of whatever this new x and new y. That's it, right? So that becomes my new start point. All right, just making sure. All right, so that becomes my new start point. All well and good, right? Now all I have to do is basically loop through this point, through this plot points. Now I'm going to say set timeout. Instead of using the request animation frame, I'm going to use the set timeout so that it can draw it as fast as possible. All right, and I'll say sleep for just 1 millisecond before calling yourself again. So it will basically do this, as fast as it is possible. But when will it end? How many plot points do you want it to draw? All right.
Sure.
I think most of the material surrounding this or the paper surrounding this say 10,000 points or so. So we'll just say 10,000 points. So we need to have a way to basically say, to count the steps, and I'll say, I'll say max, and I'll say this is 10,000. All right. So first things first, I'll say counter plus plus. If counter is greater than the max value, then I'll just say return. Okay, so basically it will stop pointing it. Now let's see. There you go.
Oh,
that's the Sierpinski triangle.
The triangles are being
formed by all of these random points.
Wow.
All right. So you will see that this will take a little bit time to completely render. There is an easy way to speed this up. But before we speed this up, let's remove that start point. I don't want it to be there on the screen. We just did it just so that we can visually see what's happening, right? So I can just, I'll just remove it from being drawn. And another one is we want to sort of speed up the number of points that are drawn per loop. So I can say for let I is equal to 0, I less than 100, so that every loop it will draw 100 points. So I'll just put this whole thing within this loop. Alright, so basically it will draw 100 points. Now let's see how fast it completes. Oh wow, it's already done.
Right.
Alright, it's already done. That's number one. And what else? If I was to increase the factor, alright, I mean it will look a little bit weird. So let's just increase the number of sides over here. So let's say I'll say make it 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Factor doesn't work. No?
Yeah, the factor doesn't work for 5, but you can still see some shapes being made.
Correct.
But also another thing I notice is that the number of points is not enough. Alright. So I'll say the number of points is, for now I'll just say 25. So we'll just let it remain like this. So about 25,000 points it will be drawn. Will be drawn, so that it basically sort of completely fills the entire the entire screen. I mean all of the gaps. I mean basically there should be no gap. Alright. Alright. I'm going to take it back to the number of sides to, let's say, 3. Just so that we are able to see the triangle very clearly. So this is once again back to the Sierpinski triangle. Another thing we can play around with is the color. What we'll do is we'll just tie the color to the Y position of this thing being drawn. Alright, so let's just do that. I can say, yeah, I mean that's actually pretty easy to do. I can say let hue is equal to map the new Y to a value between 0 and height of the screen of the canvas, and map it to a value between 0 and 360. Alright, so now I have a hue is a value between 0 and 360. So now I have a new hue value. All I have to do is say context dot fill style is equal to HSL, I mean hue saturation lightness, followed by hue, comma 100% saturation, comma 50% lightness. I don't need this gap here. Close the braces, close this, and hopefully this should give us a little bit of a psychedelic effect with this one.
Yeah,
totally. This is great. Yeah, I mean I think one thing that is missing over here is that these things, and then we'll connect everything back to this one. Alright, so how do we do that? So in the draw fractal, I mean I'm already reinitializing the points. Let me initialize the counter also, so that counter starts from 0 when we do this. Let's also make sure that we get the value for the number of sides from the range input itself. So I can just say num sides is equal to % of document dot get element by id dot value, so that it gets it from that and then puts it in the number of sides. The same thing goes for the factor, and I think it is called as the factor range. So we'll just do this. The only difference is that we'll just say parse float instead of parse int, because factor is a float. So we now have new values over here. Here's the thing, I need a way to basically find out if it is done drawing these circles, right? Over here, it is still drawing those circles because it's still going through the 25,000 loop. It is not yet done. So if I change the values now, I mean it may cause an issue, or if I call the draw function, it may cause an issue. So what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to disable these things
till it's drawn,
till it is completely drawn.
Got it.
Till it's completely drawn. Is it still drawing? I think it is still drawing. Actually, I'm not sure. And just to make sure that it is done, I'm just going to do a console.log. Just going to say done. All right, just so that we know for sure that it is done. So 25,000 points. Refresh. Yeah, there you go. So there, it's basically done.
Done.
Okay. Let's just do that, right? I'm going to create two functions. So I have the init controls. And right after that, I'll say function enable, and what I'll do is I'll just say dot disabled is equal to true. Oh no, disabled is equal to false. The same goes for the factor range, and the same goes for the button. So this type on click ID is equal to draw button. So I'll just take the draw button. So to enable them, you just have to set their disabled as false, and to disable them, I mean, it's pretty simple. I can just call this function disable, and disabled is equal to true. Okay, and from this point onwards, all I have to do is disable all of the buttons when the draw fractal is being called, right, and enable them back when it is completely done. So I can just say enable over here. So now if I go back, so there you go. So they are disabled now, and I cannot draw, I cannot click on this function or anything.
Perfect.
Let's change this to 4. Click on draw. So there you go.
Perfect.
Right, and you can see that 0.5 doesn't produce any fractals. It's 0.475 draw. There you go.
I'm getting there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I can, okay, let's increase it to 5. Let it be at 0.475. Still nothing. Let's say 0.4 draw.
Now we are already getting the wow, repeating shape.
There
Amazing.
Right. So this is a fractal, and then I mean even the negative space is essentially a pentagram. I'm sorry, a pentagon. I keep saying pentagram instead of pentagon.
Right.
Then there are pentagons and pentagons and pentagons.
Wow.
Right. I can say, let's say 6 for example.
Yeah.
Draw. There you go. I think the same fraction works.
Very nice.
For number 7, draw. I'm going to reduce the factor just a little bit. This is 0.3. There you go. A septagon. Is it called as a septagon? I'm not sure.
Heptagon?
No, heptagon. Oh, okay.
I think so. I'm not sure, but I think so.
Okay.
And then obviously
octagon. Yeah. So that's an octagon.
And then we should reduce it little more, right?
Yeah, little more. Yeah. That's an octagon. Yeah.
Right.
You see, I mean it's beautiful, right? I mean
Absolutely.
how it's able to create it.
Yeah.
Now there are many ways to do this.
Okay.
Of course, there are many other things that you can do with this. So I encourage our readers to actually, all of this would be uploaded to. This is literally called as Chaos Game, by the way.
Right.
Yeah. So we will upload all of the source code and everything to GitHub. So you can just go ahead and read through this article also. And this article specifies many other conditions that you can do over here. Now the only 2 conditions that we have done is the number of sides and the factor. Right? Over here, he's given another condition for here. Another condition. If the current vertex cannot be chosen in the next iteration, this fractal appears. Alright, so you will see
the same one that you already
exactly. In our case, we are just choosing any one of these vertexes randomly, which means it's possible that it chooses the same vertex also, right? But if you don't do that, if you say that don't choose the current one for for number of sides is equal to 4, it will produce this fractal. There are many other shapes also that it can produce. There's something over here also that that is defined. I mean you can try this out with the source code that we've given, and many other interesting shapes also come up when you actually do this. So you can you can try this out yourself once you've once you've downloaded the code and everything. All right, I'm going to switch the camera over here. Okay, so that was it for this week's episode. Thank you so much for joining in. If you like this episode, leave a like, comment, let us know what else we can do. We do have some interesting things lined up for the next few weeks, and we'll just see how it goes, right?
Absolutely.
Do subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, if they are into coding, or even if they've not coded for a very long time and want to sort of get back into coding, into the basics of it, into nice visual things like that. You can tell them about it. Perhaps this will get them interested. Do subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much for joining. That's all we have for this week.
Ciao.
Ciao.